Hey everyone, welcome back to Adobe Live. My name is Annika and I will be your host today. Welcome to the stream. I want to say thank you so much for joining us for Adobe Live's Week of Women in honor of Women's History Month. This week has been amazing. We have been featuring some amazing women identifying artists, designers, photographers, and hosts. And we have the amazing brand designer Mackenzie Bird with us today. Mackenzie, how are you doing today?
I'm great today. Yeah, feeling good to be back at it. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm really excited. We have Mackenzie for day 2 of packaging design today. So we're going to work on some mockups in Photoshop and some InDesign later on. But before we actually dive into it, I want to touch a little bit about the housekeeping stuff. So if you haven't checked out the Illustrator Creative Challenges before, that was the stream right before us. Make sure to check those out. We are doing the 36 days of type. This week, we are working with all the typography challenges. So this was at 11:30 a.m. weekday Pacific time. And it was with Claudie from Print My Soul. She is amazing. She gives us some amazing tips and tricks. So make sure to tune into those. And I want to say hi to everyone in chat. I see Jack in the chat. I see Richard. Hey to Katerina. Welcome everyone. And if you are not seeing these people in the chat, you are on Behance. Wait, you're on YouTube. So hop on over to Behance at be.net/Adobe Live. This is where I'm reading the chat and you can join in the conversation. Say hi to Mackenzie and ask all the questions that you have. Without further ado, Mackenzie, do you maybe want to introduce yourself to people who did not join us on day 1 and talk a little bit about your portfolio and dive into what we did yesterday and what we're doing today?
Yeah, sounds great. So hi, everyone. Hi again, if you're joining for the second day. My name is Mackenzie. I am a brand designer, and I've been freelancing for a little bit over a year, I would say. So on the internet, I go by Bird. I design brands for small businesses. I do packaging, print, websites, a little bit of everything. Just kind of like take on any clients that excite me creatively. So yeah, what you're seeing right now is my Instagram. You can follow me there. I post tons of like tips, tricks, all of that kind of thing. I also am recently on Behance, which is awesome. So you can check out some of my projects there, or you can visit my website for more info. I have resources, other projects that I've worked on. So yeah, here I am. And today I am really excited to be going into the second half of the packaging project that I've been working on. So I'm working on some labels for wine. So let me just bring that up on Illustrator here. Oopsie. Yeah. Sorry.
I also want to say that we have a very special artist spotlight segment going to happen at the 90-minute mark. So don't forget to submit your recommendations for any creatives that you might want to highlight. It's right above the chat. There's a tab called Artist Spotlight. Make sure to go into that and nominate your fellow creatives. So stick around for that hype session that's going to happen in around 90 minutes. And yeah, Mackenzie, take it away.
Thank you. Awesome. Perfect timing. I've got everything up here. So this is what we worked on yesterday. So to just give you like a brief little catch up, if you weren't here yesterday, we designed the 2 different labels. So there's the red wine and the white wine label for a in-house branded wine for a charcuterie company based out of California that is currently one of my clients that I'm working with. So yeah, I hope I'm not talking too fast and like giving you so much information so quickly, but I just kind of wanted to like dive into the design portion as soon as I could. So yeah, this is what we worked on yesterday. We kind of like settled on these 2 options. So the Amy is the red wine. So these two wines are based on the co-owners of the charcuterie shop. So it's called Savor, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that, but yeah. So this is where we're at today. And what I'm going to go into is, like Annika said, mocking it up in Photoshop and just kind of like making sure this file is print ready so we can send it to the printer. And then I will also like pop those into the presentation in InDesign. So touching on a little bit of like every program, that's like the way I like to do things. So yeah, everything, every program is good for something, you know? So yeah, let's just get started. Let me know, obviously, if anybody has questions.
Yeah, I want to say hi to everyone who's just joining us. Hey Ryan, hey Randall, and also Afroja and Val. Thank you so much for being here and modding for us today. Val will be dropping all the links in the chat, so make sure to click those and follow Mackenzie on all the social media. And yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so to make this file print ready, I'm sadly gonna have to get rid of a lot of this stuff. So what I usually would do is save a second version of this to kind of like preserve the work that I've already done in case I wanted to go back into it. But for this example, I'm just gonna get rid of everything that we don't need. So those were like our swatches from yesterday that we used. Not gonna need those anymore. This is like the outlines of the illustration that I was using as a base. And I'm just gonna get rid of these artboards. So this file is actually gonna be sent to the printer, so we don't want like anything cluttering it or anything like that. If there are things that are off the artboards, there might be an issue with something like that. So getting rid of those.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that everyone's joining us. Ryan says, love that it has changed so much since yesterday. Yeah. If you guys missed day one, you can always go back on the Adobe Creative Cloud YouTube channel and watch the replay.
Totally. Okay, so this is our information that we have added to the bottle. I'm just gonna get rid of these two as well. Goodbye to this first version.
Goodbye.
Okay. So this is what we're left with. So I'm actually just gonna like give these some more breathing room. There we go. So let me rename these artboards just to make my life easier, make everybody's life easier. I'm gonna call this red wine label.
Oh my god, naming artboards, love it. Gotta love it, Chad.
Yeah. It's a must.
Becca in the chat is like, this is painful to watch. No, you didn't save a copy. Well, I'm sure she saved a copy. We're good.
I'm sorry. Normally I would, I swear, but yeah, sometimes you just want a fresh start as well, though, you know? It's like
I totally get that.
To just see it all in one. Okay, so there's our red wine, white wine. This is for the printer, so they don't get confused. The reason why I like don't put spaces in between everything is just because I'm so used to like doing that as my filing system, and I don't like spaces in between the files. So in case you find that hard to read, I'm sorry, but let me go into my color. So first we're going to go into the swatches panel. I believe I already did this, but what I like to do when I'm working on a packaging thing is go into this and then select all unused. So that gets rid of, I don't want to do that quite yet because these are the Pantones that I've picked. So maybe I'll do that after. Let me first change these to the Pantones that I chose based on this actually. So I'm just gonna choose this color because this is the one that's based on the color that we used yesterday, the RGB. So I have a Pantone booklet beside me that I used for that. So yeah, that's just how I did that.
So how do you typically choose your Pantones for anyone who doesn't know in the chat?
Yeah, I think the booklet is a good investment. And I just kind of like pick it based on my eye, and like if there are any other color combos that you're working with, then it's good to like consider those as well, and like how the colors go together. It's good if you are in like a very well lit area, because that is like necessary for choosing colors, as well as like taking a photo sometimes of the swatch just to see like how it photographs is helpful too. So yeah, that's how I did that. Let's see. Sorry, I should have made this all outlines. This is another thing that might make some people uncomfortable, is to make outlines for everything before I save another version. So let me do this. Sorry, I'm just gonna go into like the nitty-gritty of this. So this is how I measure things. You might laugh at me, but I'm like, okay, this is this far away from the edge, and then I copy and paste that over here, and I'm like, oh yeah, I actually did a pretty good job with my eye.
You'd be surprised how many people do that, including me. So
yeah, I don't even know if it's like something that I learned, but it's just like something that makes sense to everyone, I think. So, can't blame us. So I just wanted to move this down a teeny little bit, but at the same time I think this is the same, so I'm going to move all these down.
Love it. Becca in the chat agrees, they do it too.
Okay, so that's important. It's important for everybody to be on the same page. It's like we don't have to pretend that we like know everything. And I'm sure there is an easier way to do that, but that's how I like to do it. So I thought yesterday, it's funny because when you like take a step back from your work and then revisit it, you're like, I think this needs something. I think I want to do something differently. So I might just go in with effect and roughen this type a teeny little bit. I think that might be kind of fun to just like make it mesh better with the
illustrations
style. So this is just kind of like, you just kind of got to feel it out here, but I feel like I wanted something like maybe 4. It's maybe not different enough, maybe 5. Like, I kind of like that. It's a little bit more whimsical. It doesn't necessarily look like I just like plopped a font on there. So I'm pretty happy with that.
It looks intentional.
Awesome.
Love it.
So let me do the same thing with this. So I think if I just click apply roughen, then it'll do the same thing, but not so happy with that. So my roughen is back here in my favorite tool, the appearance panel. And I am just going to tweak this a little bit. I think that's good. So yeah, this one, I chose the Pantone for that based on the orange. And this one, I wanted it actually to be like a little bit of a darker color. So I wanted to do this. Oops, sorry. Let me click on that and then do that. So in real life, the swatch is actually like a more like winey kind of color. So I thought that it would be like a good way to make these two kind of like along the same lines and make them like look like they're part of the same family, while not like looking like the exact same as each other, I guess. So
it helps to differentiate. And also a good point that you mentioned that in real life it looks more winey. And Ryan in the chat was actually talking about color calibration on monitors. And that totally makes a difference, which is why we're actually choosing Pantones. So that's a pro tip right there.
So yeah, I used Pantone uncoated because I think that this paper or the substrate that we'll be using for the labels is uncoated, which means like it's matte, I guess. So that is why I did that. But I also have the coated ones if you're making like a shiny label, and that'll be a different coat as well. So so I don't think that I have to like include a bleed on here. So a bleed is like the little area around, for those who are not familiar with that packaging term, but for this it's just gonna like all be included in the label. So I don't think that I have to do anything, but just for fun, I could probably add, actually, no, maybe I'll get back to that after. But this is how it's gonna look on when the printer receives it. So now what I'm going to go into is the actual mock-up, because this is like the print file, and I like to have everything like this done first, and then like kind of manipulate it to look good in the mock-up setting. So yeah, let's get into that now. I haven't even asked the audience any questions yet, so I'm curious where everybody is tuning in from.
Yeah, let us know where you're joining us from and what time is it over there on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
I know someone else is also saying, don't we use that tool to measure, like make a rectangle? And everybody's loving the color. Becca and Val love the colors that you've chosen. So that's also pretty fun.
That's great. So what I'm doing now is I'm going into my other file. So this is my mock-up file. So I have like predetermined that the mock-ups that I'm going to be using, and I have like determined the dimensions based on the mock-ups. So it's a little bit of like working in a circle, if you will, but yeah, let me show you the mockups that I'm going to be using that are in this file. So yesterday I showed the competitive analysis kind of sample of that, just some other wines that are out there. This was our mood board. And these are the two mockups that I have made up in Photoshop. So these are just like based on photos.
Super fun. I love them.
Awesome. Yeah. I found that it's really hard to find like pre-made mock-ups of wine specifically. So sometimes when something doesn't exist out there, gotta make your own. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, love it. We have a lot of friends in the chat loving the print talk. Rob in the chat is really excited. Rob says, my inner print geek is squealing with delight. Bleeds coated versus uncoated. Wow, it's a day.
I love that people can be excited about something like that.
Yeah, we have everyone tuning. Randall's tuning in from Gainesville. Rob from Saskatchewan. I also said that wrong maybe, but let's slide.
Oh, somebody else.
We have New Zealand. Yeah.
Nice. New Zealand. Wow. Everywhere. Cool.
Love that.
Let's see. So in the mockup, obviously it's not super technical, so I'm just going to add the elements, and then we'll see how they look once we paste them into the file that is in Photoshop. So as you can see, my process is a little bit like jumping from one program to the other. But yeah, let me get into it. So I'm going to go into this file that I've called the red wine mockup. So here we go. So the way I just made this, I'll just go through this really quickly. I started with this photo. Whoops, I don't know what's on and what's not. I started with this, just like a photo. What's it called? Royalty-free photo from like one of the many websites that are available. And so then I just like adjusted the brightness and added a rectangle that I then converted into a smart object. So you can just place whatever you're working on in here. So that's what we're gonna do. And right now, the color that I'm using, so I'm assuming that like when we're mocking this up, this is beige, but it might be a little bit too light to like show up on the printer, so it might be like off-white or white, but we could make that a CMYK. So yeah, where was I? Let's go back into this one. So as you can see,
is there oh, I'm sorry to cut you, go ahead.
So I was just gonna say, as you can see, this is the same size as in the Illustrator file. So it just makes it easier for me to like copy and paste it. Sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, I was just talking about why you had the size for the mockup and a different file. Is it because of the mockup size, or how does that work?
Yeah. So this file that I've mocked it up as Sorry, I'm like doing such a bad job explaining it and doing this at the same time, but
It's okay.
the file that I'm
That's
using,
live streaming for you folks.
Yes, there you go. Okay, sorry. I made a little mistake and I totally should have converted this to outlines. This is the part that's going to make people uncomfortable, is when I go up to object, expand appearance. I think I have to expand it again like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there we go. And then I guess I just like to go in with this old shape builder tool that is right here. Pathfinder tool, that's what it is. Like we were talking about yesterday. Both great tools.
Yeah. I always also can't remember what the icon looks like for Pathfinder.
Let's see. Expanding this. Let's see how that is. Okay. I think we gotta do that again. It's so funny. I just like know what to do, but not exactly what it means sometimes. I'm sure like other people have that in their process. They're like, I just click this and then it does this.
Yeah.
Without exactly like knowing what it is. But I swear I went to school for this.
I swear. Yeah. I think it's part of the process because there's just so many things to learn. Can't always keep track of everything, guys.
Totally.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing right now, maybe I'll just, getting rid of this. Goodbye. Now, this should all be easy to use wherever, and the effects will scale as they should, like that. So this is just my mock-up file here. I actually probably could have just copied and pasted it into there, but I think what I'm gonna do is just copy it from here. I just like hit copy, and then I'm putting it in here as pixels. And let's see what it looks like. It's always kind of like a, we'll see. Okay, so that's not bad.
That looks amazing.
Okay, yeah. Love to hear that. It's looking pretty good from afar. You know, when you zoom in, it's a little bit wonky. But that's my homemade markup for you. So it's gonna be much better when we kind of go into warp it. So let's go in and transform this. So I think warp might do something. Yeah, like because basically what we want to do is make this look like it's further away. So, and this side is going to be closer.
Yeah, Matthew in the chat loves how the hand-drawn text looks now.
Awesome. Love it. Thanks, Matthew.
Yeah, James is also joining us back. I recognize some of the names from day one. So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining back.
Yes, thank you for joining. I recognize a lot of the names, some of my fellow designers on Instagram. So that's really sweet.
Nice. Yeah, community coming up to support you. That's always amazing to see.
I love that. So again, it's looking a little bit like, you know, it's not exactly how it'll look, but that's how mock-ups are. As you can tell, I have gotten over a lot of my like perfectionism, which has been very freeing. And the goal is when we actually print the like printed thing is for that to be perfect. But when we're showing it at a concepts phase, it's like mostly important that the client approves of like how it's going to look and they're excited about it and things like that. So that's what we want for this part. So I would say I'm pretty happy with that. I like to sometimes like add in like a little shadow here. So that's like what I did right there to kind of like make it go with the photo a little bit more and like look more realistic. I think what I did as well is multiply it. So we have a blank background behind it, so I could even like make this a little bit more like that. But this one that we used is the exact Pantone, so I think I wanted it to be a little bit more vibrant. So let's just add, how about a color overlay? So let's like, the one that I was kind of going for is more of like a reddy kind of winey dark color. Like that.
Yeah.
How's that?
I love that you added the shadow as well. It makes it look more realistic. And yeah, it's actually very good point that you brought up about like the concept phase, because you really only have to show your clients how the real world object is going to look like, and not really. I mean, this is not how it's going to look like, but this is just a presentation of how it's going to look like.
Exactly.
Representation.
Whoops.
Yeah.
I did something. What I want to do is maybe I'll just change the color right in Illustrator. Sorry, this is very true to my process.
Yeah, we want to see it.
Yeah, that's good. I haven't practiced anything, as you can tell. So yeah, like something more along these lines. I wanted it to be like a little bit more maybe vibrant to match with the orange. So yeah, let me just copy and paste that.
Rob in the chat says foil, add the foil.
Oh yeah, I do love a foil. That would be pretty fun. That's funny. I haven't actually worked with a foil. I've done like spot gloss on some packaging, but not like a gold or silver foil. But that is pretty fun. Great idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that's pretty good. I'm liking how that looks, and I feel like you always kind of have to look at these things through the client's eyes. And when I'm like, oh no, this mock-up looks like not realistic enough or whatever, like I feel like somebody that isn't staring at every single pixel of this would be excited about it, you know?
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
So yeah, that I feel like that is pretty much that one done. What I'm just gonna do is save this, and sometimes you actually have to save this in here, and I think I've already done that plenty of times. I'm curious, do other people in the chat, do you make your own mock-ups, or do you like buy mock-ups or get the free ones? I'm always curious because as a student, I used some pretty shockingly bad ones. And now I'm like thankful to know better, I guess. So I'm always curious.
Yeah, I guess it's always like everyone's journey. That when you first start using mockups, you're like, okay, let's just get some free ones online and see how it works. And then everyone's labeled so differently and you don't know how it works. And then when you actually know how to do it, you're like, oh, hey, that was pretty easy. That was a 5-minute job.
Totally. Yeah.
Let us know in the chat what is your go-to. And if you have any good websites for mockups.
Yeah, let us know some mock-up sources. The free ones that I sometimes use are from Mr. Mockup. I think that's one. And then I like some, what are the paid ones that I've used before? Mockup Maison, I think, is another good one.
Nice.
They have
never heard of that. I'm gonna make a note of it.
Yes, yeah, they have nice, like I like the ones that are kind of like more lifestyle-y and not necessarily just like something on a blank background, but I think it totally depends on the context as well. Because if you're doing something more like corporate, you might want something that's more like pulled back, I guess. So
what are your other favorite resource websites that are like your go-to if you want to find inspiration or just for like general stuff?
Inspiration, I would say I use Behance and Pinterest, and honestly lately for this project and for like other projects that I've worked on that have been like in the food space, I sometimes find like you can find such awesome packaging and just like general design inspiration from like online grocery stores and things like that, like any place that has like some more like independent food brands, that kind of thing. So that is super fun to just like find. And even if you walk to the grocery store, anything like that. There's yeah.
And are there any fun designers that you look up to, or like just like their style, or any personal favorites?
That is a great question that I probably should have been prepared for, because I feel like that's such a classic designer question. I don't know. I don't know if there are any like personal like designers that I know of, but there's one I really like a lot of like design studios that I have like found on Instagram or on Behance as well. So one of them is called Gandergrams, I think, and I really like their work and their like creative outlook, I guess. Another one I really like is called Unspoken Agreement. They are pretty popular on Behance, actually. I always see their projects circulating. And they do really good work as well. So yeah, there are so many talented people. I don't even know where to start. But yeah, those are just like some studios that I enjoy.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Gandergrams. They are fun.
Yeah, that one came to mind specifically because like this is like beverage packaging, so they do a lot of like food stuff. But yeah. Okay. So
everyone in the chat loves Rob says creative market and water elements have some decent ones. Adobe Stock has a lot. For Samantha says Adobe Stock has a lot of fun assets as well. Yeah, I've used some of those. Those are really nice.
Oh, awesome.
There's this one store mockup that is really popular that you see everywhere. I've been using that for a while. Guilty.
Gotcha.
And yeah, that's Unblast, Mockup Tree. We have Free Mockup World. All of these fun links in the chat.
Awesome. Yeah, those are all great.
Yeah, very, very fun resources in the chat. So just as a reminder, we're 30 minutes into the stream. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you're not seeing these resources. So hop on over to Behance. We're at be.net/Adobe Live and get your hands on these mockups, guys. What are you doing?
So I'm kind of feeling like, well, first of all, these are two different sizes. That's that. The layout is not gonna be like exact, but I think what I might do is do a little rearranging because we can, because this is the mock-up. So I just wanted to rearrange this a little, maybe make it so basically for the mock-up, my goal is to just like give them an idea, like a taste of what it would be, and not necessarily like this is literally this exact thing, because nothing like the mock-ups that you get or the mock-ups that you make, unless it's with the exact packaging, is never going to be like spot on. So yeah, the color and like the paper that you're printing on also makes a ton of difference. So true. Yeah, there are so many factors to consider when you're like mocking it up versus when you're actually printing it, that kind of thing. So let's try saving that and see what that does. I feel like maybe I could brighten it up a little bit. Yeah, it really complements like the orange color with like the wine color, the tangerine, as Val says. Yeah. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm really trying to not let this happen. I want to keep going, but I'm getting a little stumped as to how I do this. Okay, let me just take a breath. Okay, we got this. Brightness. Let me brighten this up. Okay, that's kind of better. Maybe a bit more contrast. That's not really if it's like a smart object, you can also apply a filter to it as well. So if you select that layer, you can go to filter and go to up top on the left, on the navigation bar at the top. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, and then you can just go to camera raw and they maybe select something there, or even apply. I never do this. Oh yeah. We got a rainbow wheel. It's gonna take a second. That's probably why I never do it, but here we go. Oh boy.
Oh, cancel.
Okay. Cancel.
Oops.
Okay. That's okay. No, oh boy. Okay.
It's okay. It's okay. Let's click on get started.
Okay. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah. It's going to load up in a second.
Perfect. Well, while this is loading, maybe I can jump back into InDesign because I think that this should be linked because this is how I pretty much do every presentation is just by like designing things in the rest of the programs and then just kind of like plopping them into a template that I use. So let's see if this is going to be linked. No, it's not. Well, that's fine though, because what I can do is, okay, so this is the one that we have completed. So if I go to, you know what? I'm just gonna place it in here.
Yeah, that actually kind of works. Because we don't really need to, like, we're gonna change these files, so it's okay if it's even not linked.
Yes,
that's fine. Totally fine. Yeah, and you can. Val says that you can. Pro tip from Val that you can hit escape when that happens in Photoshop. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yep.
That is a good thing to know.
If anything bad happens, just hit escape.
Just hit escape. That's a classic computer thing to do, but it's not like where my brain goes instantly, you know? Okay, so I have placed that in. I just dragged and dropped it. And that one is looking good in there. So I think what I wanted to do, so let me try escaping. Oops. Okay.
It's stuck on it. That
weird. Is fine. That is totally fine. Let's go back into this.
Does hitting escape do anything?
It doesn't.
Oh,
it's fine. I kind of showed what I wanted to in terms of mocking it up, I guess. So we'll just kind of like put that on the back burner for now. And that, to be honest, is like what I would do if I were working on this by myself as a project. So I would just kind of like put that aside and work on some other things. So
you can circle back to it. That's
exactly fine. Circle back. Yeah, so classic. So these are what we have for like the actual layouts. So I think what I did before, what I was trying to show you before, was going into the swatches panel and then clicking select all unused and then deleting those ones. It just
go ahead. Why do you typically use those? Why do you delete the unused swatches?
I think just because I want the whole file to be like as cleared up as possible for any potential like if I had an extra little color in there and then the printer, you want to like set the file up so the printer doesn't blame you for anything that goes wrong, really, or not blame you, but like you don't want it to you want to set it up for success and as best as you can. So that is why I would like get rid of all those other things. And typically like the printer will send you die lines. I just made this based on like a standard 4x6 label, I guess. So that this is kind of just like based on that. I don't know where I was going with that, but yep, that's how I set it up.
Love it. Yeah, that's actually very great. This is like a fun way to learn how you can set up your files for print. So typically, do the printers always send you die lines? Do you get a template online? How does that work? Can we talk a little more about that?
Yeah, I've never actually like downloaded any die lines online or anything like that. I've always just used like die lines that I've received from the printer or from like the manufacturer, from the client, anything like that. So normally I just get that from them, and I'm gonna get rid of this, and I think that answers the question. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Or if it doesn't.
Oh, no, for sure. Maybe you can force quit Photoshop and like run it again in the background while you work on something else. So if you ever wanted to go back into Photoshop.
That is a great idea.
Do that as well. So if you guys have any questions, let us know as well. We can answer those. Go to options and
okay.
Why you do this, Photoshop?
Can you remind me what the Mac is? It like Shift Alt Delete or something like that?
You can do
you
can just open activity monitor and then delete it from there.
Sorry, what?
Yeah. So if you open activity monitor, you can just go ahead and like shut it down. Usually there is like force quit button that comes up in the options tab. I'm not sure why you can't see it, but you can open, just like you open Task Manager in a Windows machine, you can actually do
Command Option Escape. Oh, here we go.
Oh, there you go. I did not know that. What?
Yeah.
What?
It's like the Mac Control Delete, and every time I need to use it, I have to look it up. I'm like, what's the Mac version of this? But
I really need to be on top of my shortcuts. Okay.
Oh yeah. Don't get me started about shortcuts. I mean, they seem great in theory. I love just clicking around though sometimes, you know?
Yeah. Glad we got it figured out. Awesome.
Yes. Thank you for bearing with us, everyone.
Yeah, for sure.
And thanks, Annika, for guiding me through.
Oh yeah, for sure. Force quit. Yeah, Richard in the chat agrees. They usually ask the printer for the die lines if available. Yeah, that's usually like the best way to get it, as well, because they already know how the file is set up, and you just have to lay in the artwork, in the file. Make sure there are outlines. Don't send them fonts.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so that's why I went up to object and expanded that. So that is pretty important as well. So I'm just gonna put this all in one layer and call it like print. Maybe I could make like a black and white layer below and just like put all this black text on that one. Yeah, might do that just for fun because these are going to be Pantones. So maybe I'll change that.
Yeah. So do you ever like make any test prints when you do something like this at your home before you send it out to the commercial printer?
I actually don't have a printer anymore, so I haven't done that in a while. But normally you can ask the printer to print like a test run. They might charge you like $50 or something like that. But it is, I would say it's pretty essential to know what it's going to look like, to do a test, you know, especially if like the quantity that you're printing is like thousands and thousands. It's pretty essential to do that. Okay, so I think this is pretty well set up. So what I would do if I were exporting this, I don't think I necessarily need to do that right now, but maybe I could. So I would save it as I could do it. Maybe not. Sorry. What I would do is I would save it as a PDF, like as a high quality print PDF. Some printers might ask for like Illustrator files, so if they need to like go into the file and do anything, but yeah, I would just export it as a PDF. Then they can open the PDF in Illustrator, which I'm sure the printer probably has or uses, or whatever. Yeah, I know people do print work in InDesign as well, but for like a fun packaging project like this, I usually just use Illustrator, and InDesign is like my program to use for like presentations and things of that nature. So yeah, that's that. So this is done. And if I go back into this mock-up, maybe it'll be time to open up Photoshop and see how that is doing. Let's dive into Photoshop again. Yeah, so let's go back into this. Starting fresh.
Richard has a very good question in chat.
Let's hear it.
Was there a reason you did not include the brand name Savor on the Amy bottle?
Nope, there was not a reason. Thank you for asking and thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add it. Yeah, there's totally no reason. I was just kind of like playing around in here and forgot to add that. So what I actually will do is, thanks for pointing it out. Let me add that on here. So I can just like kind of fit it in here.
Mm-hmm. That's actually a nice placement with like the cutlery.
Yeah.
Thanks,
So,
Richard. Hey,
like
thanks for pointing out. Always have to get input from Chad.
Yeah,
Constructive
totally.
input is always welcome here.
Yes. And like without, I don't know, I think a lot of people are like, oh, I would love to have like no revisions or anything like that. And I'm like, I try and do my best, but there's always going to be things that like slip through the cracks or anything like that. And like having revisions and having like iterations is the only way that things can get better, I think. So I feel like it's a must.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like the whole part of the process of getting revisions, especially in packaging, is something that enhances the overall product in the end.
Totally. Yeah. And I love like having even something like a friendly critique or something like that with your work, because that's kind of like work is ultimately like design work. If it's not just like a personal project, it's for everyone out in the world. Not always going to be like for everyone, but it's for people to enjoy as well, you know, and you want to know what people are thinking about it and what different people see in different things. So yeah, always important to like include everyone, I think, when you're designing something.
Absolutely. Yeah, always having a fresh set of eyes really helps.
Totally. Okay, so here we are, good as new. Plopping this from here into mockup. So yeah, seems good. And I'm gonna save that. I'm not gonna add a filter, but I am gonna change the...
Yeah, let's not do that. So you can probably add like a layer style, but you do your process.
Okay. Thanks. I do like to test out different things, but I feel like this is pretty good. So I did want to maybe like change that a little. Let me contrast. It's not really quite enough. Okay. I'll just tell myself that did something. And yeah, there's that. I'm gonna save this and maybe it'll pop up in our InDesign file. Let's see.
I'm wondering, is there like a barcode on wine packaging? I don't think I've ever noticed it.
That's a good question. I think I've seen like a vertical barcode on like the back of on like the reverse wine label. But I don't know if like a house branded product like this would have that. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm trying to think, but I really can't remember. Maybe it's like a sticker situation with the barcode.
Yeah, true. Okay, so here are these two in here. I think that I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, that's how it'll look. Maybe I could actually add a little bit more shadow, or did I already do that on here? Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So that is how I would mock that up. And I would like present this along with a few different directions as well. So specifically for this wine project, I kind of like wanted to share a few different styles. So what I would do is like add in another one of these and yeah, we could maybe like get started on that after, or yeah, this is pretty much like what my presentation would look like. And I would add headings and that kind of thing, obviously. And I feel like a lot of people say, oh, I don't like to use, or I don't like to add in inspiration or like literal packaging inspiration into my mood boards, which is fair because I think you don't want to necessarily have these parameters that you're like, oh, I need to make it look exactly like that. So I definitely get that, but I don't know, as long as you're not like copying something literally and you're just kind of like taking bits and pieces of what you like and kind of identify that, then I think that is totally fine to like add like actual
I feel
packaging.
Like having like the mood board along with you also lets you like riff off ideas that you had initially when you were getting the mood board done, and then when you have the actual concept out there, you can see how close it is to what you wanted it to be. That kind of, because you obviously have discussed it with the client first in some cases and they're expecting something. So yeah, it's actually fun to see. I love that idea.
Yeah, that is so true. And yeah, it's good. I just want to, for this kind of process, I just like want to get the client excited about it because it's like fun for me as well. So what I'm realizing now is that we missed putting the savor that was in here onto here. So maybe I will just do that because
let's do it.
Let's add that.
Yeah, Richard in the chat says the bottle they have there has a barcode. Yeah, I assume it's like a barcode situation, but since Mackenzie said that it's like an in-house sort of a house brand, so they don't need to have it because they're not selling it off anywhere else.
Yeah, I think that's how it works. But like,
and if you guys are like also designers in chat, I know some of you are, and what do you use to like generate a barcode? Do you use a free tool? Do you use InDesign? Do you use maybe perhaps a plugin in Illustrator? Let us know.
That's a good question. Like when you're doing like sample packaging, for example, just to use as a placeholder. Yeah, that is a great question. Because it's funny, like for this kind of project, like you get as much information as you can, but a lot of it you also have to just kind of like placeholder this, that, everything. So
absolutely, yeah, definitely important when you're working on portfolio projects, just to showcase that you have the know-how and the knowledge of how it works.
Totally.
Yeah. Love that.
I'm gonna add this other one. Let's find the one that we were just using. Here we go, red wine mockup. Let's do it.
Love it.
Cool.
Yeah, it's fun to see how packaging works like worldwide. There's like people in the chat talking about how there's like bunch of different symbols needed on the labels by law when you're like importing packaging or like other items like this.
Totally. Yeah, that is super interesting. And like we were talking about yesterday, if you're translating it to a different language as well, and to have two languages on the same packaging, and like the considerations with like fonts and typography and like sizes, because a lot of things have to be a minimum size as well. So yeah, so many things to keep in mind.
Yeah. Hey, love that little savor in there. Really nice.
Okay, yeah. It really came together once we added that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that this is fine. And I'm gonna maybe I want to like change the color a little bit. Is it fun to watch this, or is it like
I love it.
This is
it's the real process.
Yes, it's so true. I love to watch like other people design stuff, but then I'm like, I hope other people do too.
Absolutely, yeah. I know a lot of people are lurking and working, so they're probably enjoying it. Don't worry.
Yes.
It's always the working look. Love that.
Yeah, totally. I do that as well. Okay, what did I want to do? Make it a little bit brighter, maybe? Like more saturated. Yeah, I like that. Maybe. Again, just for show. So doesn't need to be perfect. Let's see. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Biola in the chat says present. Everybody's just looking and working today. Love it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
There's a lot of chat about like the wine that they're buying. So
okay. Yeah,
people
wine
are
chat.
talking about it. Yeah, wine chat.
Nice.
Yeah, keep it coming. So
Awesome.
I'm curious, when you present your project to the clients, do you usually like have two concepts, or like how do you go about it? Do you make mock-ups for them as well? How does that work out?
For say this project specifically, that's like almost a little like sub project of the bigger branding overall. I would present two different labels or like two different variations on this, and then I would also use different mock-ups, I think, as well, because I think the mock-up is just like such a big part of it too. So I would try and find some more and add those into the presentation too. But it's sometimes, I like to go like full steam ahead, as we were talking about yesterday, with like one concept sometimes, but then it's nice to like see a variation.
Richard loves the labels.
Awesome, thanks so much. So let's see. So if you double click this, let's update this. Okay, cool. So there we go. There's a little saver on that. That's all we were doing there.
That was pretty seamless. You just double click the link and it fetched the image.
It did, yeah. So these are all like linked. So sometimes it'll be like a little like red circle with a question mark in it, and then it's like, where did that go? You moved the file. So you just have to like find it and link back. But this is like how I like add everything in. And even with logos and stuff like that, I will say like makes a logo in Illustrator and then just add it in InDesign that way. And it's kind of like the presentation is always updating itself, if that makes sense. So you don't have to, it's like less work to like go back and forth and place in this and that. So it's
absolutely gotta love InDesign for that dynamic.
Totally. Like, I feel like a lot of people are it's a thing. A lot of people, when they first start out, learn Photoshop, and they like are really good with Photoshop, and like they learn InDesign maybe last or not at all. But I started out with like InDesign and Illustrator, so and Photoshop was like my last thing. So it's interesting seeing different people's processes and like what they learned first and what they're most comfortable in, because everybody has their like strengths and weaknesses with the programs, I find. So
absolutely.
So what was I doing in here? So I'm pretty happy with this, and I think I was just kind of going to maybe I'll add another page, and then I can just kind of get started on like some ideas, maybe go into some typesetting of how I would do like a second version. So I would just duplicate this one, and then
Biola says she also started with InDesign.
Oh,
there you go.
Cool. Nice. I feel like the people who started with InDesign are often like, they can use it with like laying out books and stuff like that. And people who start with Photoshop usually like might be more comfortable with like doing a lot of like photo editing or something like that. So I just like to clear these to be like, look, it's a blank slate. And then
I feel like all of the apps really have like share a lot of functionalities these days. So what you can do in one app, perhaps you can do in other apps as well. So like it's actually very transferable. Like if you know one application, you can transfer those skills to like another one. So I really love that about all the apps.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. And they work together really well as well. So that's nice. So I'm just kind of like getting this set up to make another version really. Like we were talking about before. This is funny that I outlined this and now I'm like, whoops, I outlined it, gonna have to make more. But maybe I can do something with that. I think
Richard says they learn Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign, but very little InDesign. And Val says in order is Photoshop, Premiere Pro, InDesign, After Effects, Illustrator, XD, and Fresco. Hey, nice.
Whoa, that's a lot.
That's a lot of apps.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, even I started out with Photoshop. Then I learned Illustrator, Premiere Pro, After Effects, somewhere in there, Fresco in between, and then InDesign, and I've never learned XD. I mean, I can work in XD, but not for what it's meant to be worked in.
Gotcha. Yeah, XD, I feel like a lot of people use XD for like social media kind of thing as well.
Yeah. And the auto animate in XD is really helpful with that.
Yeah, I haven't like gotten that far into it, but that seems pretty fun.
Yeah, it's actually pretty fun. There's actually Creative Cloud Express. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's the new web app that is free, and you can use it to like make fun little animations. If you're working with like a brand as well, you can put in the brand assets in there, and you can quickly jump in and like put your logo on top of like imagery or the visual language that you have. So that's also something to look up to.
That is cool. I haven't gotten into it yet, but I've seen a lot of tutorials on this channel, on the YouTube channel as well. So that's cool. Yeah. So I think I have kind of like painted myself into a corner here without realizing it, and I didn't copy anything, I didn't paste anything. So yeah, don't do what I did and outline everything right away. But I think I have saved all this. So
I feel like you planned this just to like teach us a lesson. And don't do what I did. Don't create outlines, save copies. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. So I think what I might actually do is, this is what I would do in a real situation if this happened. I would, since I haven't saved, I would bring both of these in to another file. And see here, I'm turning this into a little pro tip. Nice. So I would bring both of those into a different file. I remember that this is 4 by 6 inches. So I'm just gonna close that without saving. As much as that makes me sad inside to close something without saving, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Save. Okay.
Then we can revert to the
Then we can start
version.
Fresh into here. So
yeah. I'm glad I didn't ask you to save. Hey, look at that.
Yeah, I am so glad too, because I would have been like, I would have saved, but here we go. Okay, so this is where we started. Yeah, I'm glad that everything is worked out like that, because
sometimes not saving helps. This is a first, guys. This is a
first. So true. So yeah, maybe I'll just like try and set this type up a little differently and like have some different configurations. It's interesting, something that I learned in university. I had a teacher who knew German, or maybe was German, and she said that in German they use a lot of super condensed, like narrow fonts, because the words are so long. So for something like this, it would be like each word is so much longer, like on the packaging. So when you have a language with like a lot of super long words with not a lot of spaces, then it's necessary to use like a way thinner font, I guess. So I just always think of that, and I always think of like those little typography things that not everybody knows.
That is very fun and exciting. Val has a very good question here. What is a favorite project you have done recently, and why?
That's fun. So a favorite project that I've done recently, I'm having a lot of fun with this, obviously, but one before this that I did was called Oslo Coffee Co. I think I introduced them yesterday. Website. Yes. They were super fun, just because because when you have when the client has a lot of trust in you, and they are really excited about different ideas, and they're also really creative, then that's kind of like the dynamic that I work best in. So that was like what made it really fun, I think.
Yeah, I actually like the colors and like the different organic shapes you used in that. Really, really fun.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I obviously love a lot of colors,
Yeah.
and it's it's so fun. Like I swear the best projects ever, it's not even like, oh, this is a dream industry to work in or a dream project or anything like that. It's like it's all about the dynamics between you and the client, I find.
Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely when you get like the most creative freedom.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Totally.
That actually shows it's not about getting the creative freedom. It's about the fact that they trust you and your process.
Totally.
Um, and that actually enhances the whole design process as well, because you just don't care about whether or not they would like it or what's gonna happen, and it
Mm-hmm.
like lifts weight off your shoulders. So yeah, that's super fun always.
Yeah. Yeah, it totally does. And it makes you be like, oh yeah, I did like choose the right path to do when somebody else like sees that in you as a creative. So
Yeah.
um yeah. So another little typography tip. I love typography so much, so that's why I'm like trying to spew out every kind of typography related thing. But
Mhm.
I feel like a lot of people love to do this kind of thing, like a super long line, but the way we read is actually like much better to have I feel like it's like 8 words per line. And that is, I think, why I separated it out like this. But I think you kind of also want to take into account like the how often people will be reading it, because although this is necessary information, it can also kind of like be used in a stylistic way. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like, this is super informational, I guess. So yeah, does anybody else have any fun typography things that they've learned through their design journey?
Yeah. When I first started, I did not know what widows and orphans were. So that was a
Oh,
thing. That was a thing. And then I learned it and I'm like, okay, I've been doing this for a while. Let's fix that.
right. Yeah, those are classic.
Yeah,
And
if any of you are unfamiliar, it's basically a very, very classic mistake a lot of people do when they're laying type. Yeah, it's basically having just one letter at the end of the paragraph, and like, don't do it.
yeah, it's not the best. You can't blame people, but it is a little bit like we want to make things as legible as possible. And it's funny
Mm-hmm.
that you don't always notice it, but then you're like, oh, my eye is having to go back here to like the very
Yeah.
beginning, and like it's just like creating kind of like a frictionless reading experience
Mm-hmm.
is also important.
Yeah. Is it like when you're working with wine labels, is it always just the paper that you work with, or can the material be something transparent? Is that a thing?
Yeah, that's a good question. I have not done any work with like transparent labels, but
Mm-hmm.
that would kind of like present a unique challenge as well in terms of
Yeah.
color choices, I imagine, because
Mm-hmm.
the colors, like say, for example, when I said that I used the uncoated guide, like you might have to use some kind of different form of like color matching, or something like that, because like colors look different based on like what substrate they're on and like what material. So that would be fun though. I have never done it.
Yeah, and I want to say welcome to everyone who's just joining us. We are here with Mackenzie. We are doing packaging design for a wine label, for actually two wine labels. So if you
Mhm.
are on YouTube, hop on over to Behance and you can join the chat. Andrea just asked a very good question about the wine solid label and the transparent. So yeah,
Mm,
you can do that and come on over, say hi.
yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, so what I'm doing right now is just kind of like playing around with different configurations. It's always funny, like, because you can use this information as like a typographic thing, or you can use it just as like like necessary information to be on the bottle. So that's what makes design fun, you know, that's the spice of life.
Absolutely. Rob in the chat saying paying attention to hyphenations, widows and orphans is important in publication design, but very important in packaging.
Right. Yeah. Totally.
I agree. Yeah. For packaging design to essentially work, it needs to be attractive and like just be like the off the shelf that the term there is. And for that to happen, it really basically imagine you're in a grocery store and like there's 10 different things, same object with different brands, and you have to design something that's just screams at you. So
totally.
Yeah, for sure. That means that it should be perfect. Not to put any pressure on you, just saying.
Yeah.
But I do like the second direction you're going with. It kind of provides like a contrast with like the very fun and the like the illustration style. Where like the sans serif looks good in the overall composition.
Yeah, it's kind of like where was I going with this? Just like separating it out in a different way. I might even like change some of the type to be like a little bit more contrasting, something like that. We'll see how it goes. And I like it if it's all like maybe I could make this like on different line. Nah, I'll do that. Yeah. So what were we just talking about? Oh yeah, packaging, typography and packaging. It's funny because it's like super important in publication design, as Rob I think said. And it's also super important on packaging as well, I think, because there's so like sometimes there's so little like copy actually on the packaging, so it's like you have to do like even any one little orphan or widow or anything like that, like people's eyes will be immediately drawn to that. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess we need another one.
I can see why you would use InDesign for something like this, to be honest. I see.
Yeah, that's true. And like having guides in InDesign would be helpful as well. Like I think something more grid like based would be helpful to use in InDesign, because it's like I'm not necessarily using like all these illustrations and changing the colors and stuff like that, which Illustrator is obviously the best program for that, I find. But yeah, if it's more like kind of just text maybe, then I think you're right that InDesign would be good for that. Let's see.
What are some of your favorite packaging projects that you worked on, and like what material was the label made out of?
I have mostly actually done a lot of craft beer projects, and that has been okay. I'm not super into like, it's interesting, like I find a lot of craft beer has always kind of the same look, and it's also very like experimental, a lot of it, but I don't know, it's sometimes I'm kind of like, okay, this is maybe not targeting me because it has like a dragon on it or something, and it's maybe for somebody else. So stuff like that I have worked on, which I guess you asked what my favorite project was though, and then I talked about that, which is maybe not my favorite. I would say it wasn't packaging, but a print project that I worked on was like, I don't think it's on my website or anything like that, but it was like a whole wrap for the doors to a like bike storage area, nice. If that makes sense. So it was kind of like an illustrated like thing, typographic as well, and it was just really huge, so I think the scale of that was really cool. And but that was like something print related that I had fun with, and
that's pretty exciting.
It's always cool to see your work no matter the size of it, no matter how big it is or how small it is. So yeah, that was fun.
Hayden in the chat says, "Oh wow, the stream has an ABV percent." Yeah.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah.
Hey Hayden, welcome. Love it.
Okay, doing my really technical measuring trick again. Here we are with the blocks on either side. Just kind of centering this. Let me move this over a little bit. How about that? This is either gonna look really weird or normal. Okay, looks pretty normal. Maybe I'll move this in. And then I might kind of want to do a little something more like hand drawn looking. So I think I actually had some other typography over here that might be fun to use. This one I kind of like. It might be a little bit too loopy, but this is a Adobe font called Buffet Script, so I might try that one. I also like this one, Balsamine. So whoopsie. Well, let me see. As you can maybe tell from this, I'm very like vocal when I'm designing.
Hey, we love that.
Yeah. That's good. It's probably very annoying to be around me when I'm working though, because I'm always like, whoopsie. So yeah, that's just how I do things apparently.
We're all about it over here.
Awesome. So that's gonna be a little too small, because it is 7, which is quite small. So no, it's not. It's a no.
Love that reaction. Yeah, it's not working out. You gotta go. I love that. A lot of new folks joining us from yesterday.
Fun.
Hey, yeah, welcome back.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Laura, welcome to the party. We're just doing some fun stuff here. If you have any questions, make sure to put them in the chat. We'll be sure to answer.
Yeah, please do. Okay, this is not going the way I thought it would, but let me try the numbers. Maybe that's better. I think the problem is that it looks like too calligraphic, I guess, instead of being like handwritten. And if I were like going more in depth with this version, I think I would like actually write it and then upload it like I did for these illustrations yesterday, because I feel like a lot of script hand-drawn fonts, I'm sorry if this is a hot take, a lot of script hand-drawn fonts can look very cheesy very easily. So I want to avoid that. But there's a way to do everything, you know. I'm all about having like no rules in terms of design, but sometimes you gotta that's my take. I'm sorry, maybe people can agree with me that there are a lot of very cheesy looking script fonts, and it is hard to find a good script font.
I guess that is true. I mean, you always got to know where to like push the limits and not to, and it's hard to like, it's easy to break the rules once you know what they are. So
exactly. So I kind of maybe like the idea of having wrists tracked out a little bit more, like something like that. I'm kind of trying to incorporate like a bit of maybe a bit of the more traditional kind of like wine packaging, while still like keeping it pretty modern. So I just want to do this one, I think, and then maybe this number could also be like if we change this to 750.
That actually does remind me of like classic traditional, like the numbers really do remind me of like the traditional sense of having them printed on a wine bottle. And also you're absolutely right, they're totally modern at the same time, because it's like the pairing that you've chosen.
Right.
Really
Yeah, I hope that it helps to have the sans serif there that's like more contemporary, I guess.
Yeah.
So that I'm always just like fiddling with things and like aligning everything. But let me zoom out. with my face and on the computer.
Yeah. Don't forget to zoom out, folks. Just like this.
Yeah. Okay, I'm kind of enjoying this a little bit. It needs some work still, but we're getting somewhere. Maybe I could 12.5. No, I'm not going to do that with it. Yeah, I think I'll just stick with this. And then I think what I would do is, if we still wanted to keep like the illustration throughout both versions, if that was like something that we wanted to do, because I might do that, or I might like do a completely 360 version. But for this, maybe I'll just show like incorporating the illustration in a way that looks different. So
yeah,
let me add.
I love this direction though. I know I've already said it, but like I love it a lot.
Great. I'm so glad.
Yeah. I don't know, Chad. Do you chat if you're listening? Do you also make like a couple of concepts when presenting like to a client? How does that work for you? I would love to know more from your experiences. And yeah, if you have any specific questions about like what, I don't know, tell me your favorite font, I guess. What's your favorite font, Chad?
Yeah,
favorite script font. Let's actually do that.
Ooh,
let's find a favorite script
we'll
font.
See. It's gonna be hard to decide because
controversial.
Like I said, there's not that many good ones out there, but
yeah. If you could just write your name and not send links, that would be awesome. I just want to know what those are. If they're like really popular ones, that would be amazing. So Laura, who just joined us as well today, asks, what is the brand personality of this wine? Yeah, for anyone who's just joining us, maybe we can talk about that a little bit again.
Yeah, that's a fun question. I'll quickly bring up the mood board again. So this is the mood board. I'll zoom in and then I'll kind of like go back to what I was designing and then talk about it a little bit more. But we kind of have like the things it's like in between being too close and too far away. So I hope you can see this. But yeah, I kind of have like a lot of experimental typography, kind of like big and bold in here. I like this kind of layered thing that they're doing in here. So there's like the name of that here, and maybe I'm getting a little too granular for what the question was, but this is just like identifying what I liked in this. And I think I like a lot of these things because they do feel more playful, but also still like a more like upscale product, I guess. So it's like the packaging is really eye-catching, and it's also very like photogenic, and basically trying to move away from this personality, you might say, because this is more just like your standard classic wine. If you asked like anyone to draw what a wine label looked like, they would probably draw something just like this, which is like, okay, we get it. Like, this is what wine might look like. But it's also really fun to imagine if wine looked like any of these things as well. So
absolutely.
Yeah, and the brand personality, I can do this in chat. I think I can multitask. The personality of the whole brand it's playful, and so I'll start from the beginning. They're called Savor Charcuterie, and they are based in California. There's a lot of like, they live in the place is in a very like agriculturally rich area. There's a lot of things that grow there. There's like almonds, there's honey, there's like all these farms, that kind of thing. So they kind of want to like show the abundance of that in like a colorful and like inviting way. The people there seem like they have a great time working there. So just like kind of to bring some more fresh energy and not be like your typical kind of like butcher shop aesthetic look, that kind of like just black and white, and like, I don't know, that kind of thing was really popular. for a while, but they kind of want to move away from that and just kind of like up their like digital presence as well. So I think like color and like a lot of texture will represent that. So I hope that I did like a fine job explaining that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and Val again says that she loves how you have incorporated like the color palettes on the mood board. The little circles of the colors. Those look really fun.
Yeah, that's kind of like, I like to lay out mood boards like different every time kind of, but I think it's fun to just show like some colors in there, some bit of everything.
Yeah, keeps it fresh.
Totally.
Love that.
So
yeah, we have an artist spotlight in about 5 minutes coming up. So
cool.
we'll do that. Yeah, I am also really excited to look at the work. And if you guys in the chat want to nominate someone from the community or another creative that you really like and admire their work, make sure to go to the artist spotlight tab. It's right above chat. So make sure to click on that and nominate them for a future artist spotlight.
Okay, so yeah, I've been feeling like this version will be a little bit more like pared back, and usually when I share two different concepts, that's like what I end up doing is kind of like two, like one of them's a bit more experimental and then one of them will be a little bit more like safe, I guess. So
absolutely, yeah.
One of them's like,
about
yeah, like, oh, I'm playing around, I'm like having fun, whatever, and the other one will be like, okay, maybe if you don't want to go as wild, then this one's for you. So yeah, I like having this. Maybe we could actually swap these. So I might. So right now I'm just like focusing on this Amy one, but I think the Cameron one could be similar. I'm just gonna swap these because it might be kind of fun to have this on the top. Whoops, little milliliters left behind there.
Oh, no.
Or maybe like this.
Oh, okay, yeah, that looks fun.
Nice. I'm sorry, I have to take a sip of water. I feel like I've been chatting so much.
Yeah. This is your friendly reminder to save, stretch, and hydrate, you guys. And Rob, perfect timing. Rob asks, what is Mackenzie's favorite wine? I'm hoping it's from the BC Interior.
Oh, okay. Oh man, I wish I had a cool answer for that. Yeah, the BC Interior, the province that I live in is very that's like the wine region of where we live in BC. So I do really, actually, it's on my mood board. So this brand called Plot Wines, they have really fun labels. Obviously that's why I bought it. And that is a fun choice if you are in the area and if you are of age, obviously. So try that one. Yeah, I really like that wine.
Friendly reminder, Cara, don't try this at home.
Yes.
Almost didn't say that right, but yeah, you know what I mean.
Exactly.
Yeah, love it.
So I think what I'm gonna do is maybe we could use some of the typography that I had a little sample of yesterday. Here we go. So maybe one of these. This is one that I ended up using, and it is super like bold. So maybe we could try something a little bit more refined, perhaps. Or you know, it might be cool. Oh, I don't even know. I am also so indecisive, but I'm picturing kind of like layering this typography in here. Just focus on one thing at a time. Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. I love that. Do you think you're going to use the lighter color for the second version, or is that just to like make it look more legible? I don't know. Why did you choose like a lighter color?
Oh, like for the background?
For the background?
It wasn't really a conscious choice, to be honest. Okay. It was just like, this one doesn't have a background. But I think that might be a good...
Oh, is that white? Oh,
yeah.
My bad then.
No, that's fine. It might be a good direction to go in though, because the other one was like a bit of an off-white. Or we could do just like color background and have like light illustrations. Like that might be cool as well. So let's try it. See, this is just like the fun thing about designing is that you can do anything you want. You can undo anything you want. It's always hard when you're going from like digitally designing to like doing something on paper. And then I'm like, Control Z. And
oh yeah, double tap to undo on paper. Yeah, let's do it.
Exactly.
I guess you're all guilty of that. I've done that. It's hard though, but I feel like it's also like a good balance when you go back to paper and pencil to like sketch some ideas. Like especially when I'm designing logos, I feel like doing it on paper first really helps my process in the sense of like getting stuff out really quickly and then bringing that to digital. But yeah, I agree. Gotta love digital design.
Yeah, getting it on paper, especially like you said for logo, some like early concepts is pretty great for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one's the Amy one. So quite a bit shorter of a name. So we'll add that here. I think I liked like I said yesterday, if you weren't here, you might have missed out on Spirits, which is a cool new font, new to Adobe fonts.
Yeah.
So I liked that one a lot. Spirits. I think
I actually went back and activated it.
Good job. You activated it. It is a good one, right?
Yeah, it is a good one. I'm yet to use it, but maybe in the next project I am gonna try to use it in.
Yeah, it's so fun how they're always like updating new fonts, because I'm like, oh whoops, this font is like everybody's using it now, and then there's like, yes, there's a new one. Spirits, maybe, I don't know, I don't think I like this sharp one for this. Yeah, maybe that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay.
All right. It's time for Artist Spotlight. So let's do that and then come back to where we are, and then we can continue working on this.
That's awesome. So for the Artist Spotlight, let me bring up this person's website. So this is Matthew Miller. He is a super talented designer, and he focuses on social media design. So you might have seen his work on Instagram if you also follow me, because he is like one of my very first designer friends in the online community, and I really just love his work. So I wanted to show you.
I love their website. It's like super colorful, and there's like a lot of templates that you can look at as well.
Totally. So I'll show you the social media after, because that's also really fun, but he actually makes all of these in XD, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So this is like super accessible if you are on the Creative Cloud plan. I think he has some for free even as well, but I just really love his like all these different layouts that he has, and he's such a Photoshop whiz. I know that, and I really admire that, because that's something that I want to get better at for sure. And I just love his like use of color and texture and like very maximalism. So I just think it's super fun and like really works with everything digital, I find. So
I love like all the colors and like the very retro vibe it has.
Totally
love it. Al in the chat also agrees. It has like a 90s vibe. Yeah,
absolutely. For sure. So he's also doing this super popular thing,
36 Days of Time.
Yes, that's what it is. So I just love all these, and he has a lot of like infographics that are made really like
fun. Can we click into one of those, like some of those posts, to see how the work is?
This one's like one of these infographics that he made, and just like things like this fun little arrow and like so many things. So pretty fun and educational sometimes. So I just love that.
I love how these are set. Like this is definitely inspiring to see how like people set up their mood boards, and like how you set up like these layouts and designs for Instagram, because Instagram is always like a mystery.
Oh yeah, it is a mystery, that is for sure.
Yeah, go follow Matthew, you guys.
Yeah.
Get some inspiration from their Instagram. Do they have like other stuff on like the website as well that we can look at? I think I saw something about their services that they provide, which is really inspiring for me because you were talking about that yesterday. Up top there's services and pricing, I think. And that's very fun because it was like very transparent. And if you go on their website, you can actually see like what's the retainer for and what kind of packages they have, and it's super fun. So you guys should check it out. There's also color palettes in there, and like every detail has been explained really nicely, which I really liked.
Yeah, I love the transparency.
Absolutely.
Because it's like you want to give people as much information at the beginning as possible, because like you don't need to explain a million things every single time. So have it all out there. It's easy. And I think I was also just going to show you the store section, because these are like where all these templates are. So yeah, if you want to hit your Instagram to like look as cool as his does, then you can make that happen.
Let's see the spring vibes template. That's
okay.
That's
spring vibes.
Nice.
That's like what is happening right now, kind of where I live at least.
Wow, look at that. I love the elements, like the floral elements that we have going on there. Really nice touch.
Yeah, super fun. So if you're watching, Matthew, love your work.
Matthew is watching. Matthew says thank you so much.
Oh, that's so
Thank you for being in chat. Hey, click on Matthew's face, smash that face, and go to their profile, give them a good follow on Behance and even on social media. I'm promising you won't be disappointed.
Exactly.
Clearly, it's some amazing work.
It's so much fun.
Yeah. Awesome.
Cool. Yeah, sweet.
Let's dive into it. You will find links to Matthew's profiles in the chat. Val is putting that in. So make sure to click on the link and follow Matthew. And again, if you have any artists that you want to spotlight and maybe highlight in the next future artist spotlight, make sure to go to the artist spotlight tab right above chat and nominate them. This is amazing. I love that we can see so many, like a vast variety of work when you're doing something like this, because otherwise we would have never explored these artists. And it's just so amazing to see.
Totally. Yeah.
I also want to say that I really like the animation. Like that's a really nice touch, because you can actually see like things moving, and that really grabs your eye, because in the world of like a lot of content out there, this is like a great way to grab your attention. So
totally.
Good job, Matthew. Hey, amazing website. Tell us what you used to make the website as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think he might have a new website, but he'll tell us. So just wanted to share that. Super fun, and like that's one of my goals, is to kind of like be more experimental, especially with Photoshop and things like that. So I think it's awesome.
All right. Sweet. Let's go back to what we were doing then.
Okay, sweet.
Awesome.
Back into this one. Okay. It's always nice to like give your eyes a break from a project as well, and to go back into it and be like, wow, I love this, or wow, I hate this.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm kind of feeling this as far as like general layout, and I like that that it's on a colored background, I think. But this color, not doing it for me. Maybe I'll actually go back into my mood board and see what kind of colors we had in there, because I think I like this, and I like this combination of like blue and like bright orange. I feel like this combination is very like California vibes to me. I don't know why. And this color really reminds me of that like glacial Kool-Aid, or a glacier, or just a glacier, but that kind of Kool-Aid was like, it's burned into my mind from childhood, and I really have always loved that color, maybe because of that. So you never know what's going to inspire you.
Absolutely. That's actually a good tip as well. Like, if you know, we had a lot of designer students yesterday in the stream, and they were obviously looking to better your portfolio every step of the way. But if you are looking for like passion projects, I feel like gaining inspiration from your personal life and like using that to make projects out of it is like a great way to work through stuff as well, because you're really close to it and you're really inspired by it and like the, let's say, a perfume. So you can maybe redesign or like reimagine how you would do it in your style. And everybody's digging the blue color. So
nice.
that's fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I hope everybody loves that iceberg kind of Kool-Aid as well. Okay, let's see. No, too powdery now. This is like my process of choosing colors. I've had people ask me like, oh, how do you choose colors? And I'm like, I just like fiddle around for sometimes a really long time. Let's see. I want this to be brighter as well, kind of. Yeah, you want it to like have a good contrast without hurting your eyes too much sometimes. So
absolutely, yeah. Contrast really helps
like
with everything.
I don't know. This I actually liked what I did first. Okay, go back, copy and paste this. Nice. As we talked about yesterday, like libraries might be nice for me to consider using that, set it up a bit better. But
I mean, it's part of your process. I mean, whatever works for you works for you. It's totally fine.
It's so easy to say that though, and I'm like, but does it work for me? Or am I just like in the habit of doing it, you know?
Well, that is exactly it. If you are in the habit of doing it, you're already efficient at doing it your way. So
that is a very good point.
But of course, it would be a nice touch to use it, because then that would make everything seamless. So both ways are correct. No way is wrong, to be honest. Yeah, we have a little over 15 minutes now, just giving you a heads up in the stream and also to the chat. If you have any last minute questions for Mackenzie over here, don't forget to put them in the chat.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
A bit more green. Yeah, to be honest, I'm pretty impressed with like how fast I was able to do this.
Absolutely, me too.
Okay, because I was like, oh man, this is gonna take me forever, but like 4 hours total of like design work and chatting. Maybe that's the way that I have to do it from now on.
Yeah, time flies, to be honest. You don't really know where the time goes when you're actually chatting live.
Totally.
And when there's questions as well, and you have to think, so you have to like think about design, you think about chat, what's going on, but you're natural at it.
Thanks. Okay, I'm kind of picturing something more like this, like a bit of a gray, blue, teal thing. I don't know. It's always hard when you're using light colors, like light on light colors for print stuff, because you want it to show up. So yeah. Yeah.
Colby has a question.
Ooh, let's hear it.
Do you work on any other types of beverage packaging or mostly wine?
Yeah, I have done one other like personal project that was for wine as well. But I think I mentioned this earlier that I've done like a lot of craft beer projects. And yeah, I haven't really done that much other beverages packaging though. Yeah, this is mostly like wine and beer that I've worked on, but it would be fun to do like some kind of like soda or something like that. But for this brand, I'm also going to be doing like honey and what are the other things. There's so many different things that go along with this project. So a lot more food packaging as well, so that's fun.
Yeah, it's a charcuterie brand, and you're gonna design all the packaging as well for them then?
Yeah.
That's pretty exciting.
It is super exciting. It's so fun to think that like people will be excited about this packaging when they see it like in the store and stuff like that. And that is like my goal, is for people to be like, wow, I'm gonna buy this exactly because of the packaging and because it's good. But people's eyes are drawn to something that looks good, obviously. So okay, I'm kind of liking this caps vibe, which is not something I considered before, but I think this might be a little bit too, I didn't activate this light before. Yeah, I might want to go a little bit narrower. I'll just share another typography tip that I actually learned from another one of these Adobe Lives is the
Mhm.
little squiggle tool. I'm not sure if everybody knows this, but this little squiggle,
Yeah.
you can see similar fonts. You knew about this.
Yep.
It's amazing. So
It's amazing. It is.
I can't believe that I like just am learning about that. So
Yeah, there's like a seamless workflow here with Adobe fonts inside the apps.
it's so cool. So
Absolutely.
yeah, all of these ones are similar. New Spirit, also a classic from Adobe Fonts. So Ivy Presto, also an Adobe Fonts classic. So yeah, that I just wanted to share that again in case anybody hadn't seen it, because I just learned about it and it's very cool.
Absolutely, yeah. And you can even activate the fonts that you find are similar, and you can just activate it from within the app. So that's
who knew?
also super fun.
Apparently a lot of people knew, but I'm just learning about it and it's cool.
Yeah, it is.
So
I love it. It's your new favorite after the appearance panel, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like I have learned so much from watching so many of these lives.
Yeah. There's always something that you have to like relearn. And I mean, even if you do know that, there's always like a different way that other people do it. And that's like the beauty of these live streams. Which actually reminds me, when Adobe Live is offline, we're actually hosting live streamers as on Adobe Live. So you can learn from their process, you can ask questions and interact with them. And it's also a great way to like build a sense of community as well. It's super fun to learn from other people's processes, I feel like.
Totally. And I think like you said earlier, like there's a million different ways to do the same thing, so it's always interesting to hear. Yeah, I wish that this were maybe more light. I don't know. Ivy Presto, let's try that. Yeah, maybe I'll just leave this in here. But like something like this might be a good secondary option to still kind of use the like illustrated elements, but like make it a little bit more serious. Even though I know that they like don't necessarily want the whole brand to be super serious. That's why I like designing or being able to design like a full brand from like top to bottom, because you can play around with so many of the different elements within it, and like a brand is so much more than just like the individual logo or like the one piece of packaging or anything like that. So it's like how it all works together seamlessly, and how it all like works together. Like I said,
I love the interaction of the type with the illustrations though.
Yeah, I think that is working. Because I feel like for these other options, it's a little bit like, this is one element, this is one element, this is one element. So it might be nice to kind of like have them interacting, like you said.
It's a nice balance with like a very tall typeface along with like those very fun illustrations as well. I love it.
What have people said are their favorite script fonts? Any hits on that one?
I think there were some comments about it, but I've missed
no
all
worries.
of those.
That's all right.
I mean, the chat is great. Everybody's talking about Matthew's work here, and there was some other talk that I totally missed. But I did feel like there are some fonts that people said, but I have totally missed those. I apologize.
No, that's fine.
It's way up in the chat now. There's no going back.
That's good. No, I like to hear that that people are chatting away in there. So that's good either way.
Yeah, there's some new folks joining as well. We're at almost the end of day 2 here with Mackenzie, but no worries if you missed the live streams, you can go watch the replays.
Yeah, it's always good to be able to refer to. So should I kind of like I can
do like a walkthrough? Yeah, we have like a couple more minutes. You can keep working on it, and I'll give you a heads up when we're there.
Cool. Yeah, I kind of like how this one is looking with this. And what I would consider doing is I don't know if I want to like use the flowers, what elements I want to use, but let me just try and like map out a different version of this as well, making sure I don't have anything locked. And then I'm going to drag this over. I think one of the best key commands that I have ever known about, most people probably know this, but it's Option click and drag. I'm hoping everybody knows that, because if you don't and you've just been like copy and pasting, then this is going to save a lot. I think it like saves RAM or something as well. Don't quote me on that, but it's better for your computer speed to do that rather than like copying and pasting. So
yeah, it is super helpful. Absolutely. I think I use that pretty much every day.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, nice. So that would be a fun question to ask the clients.
Oh, yeah.
Like, would you prefer like only the three letters of the name, just like Amy and Cam? Maybe that's an option or a consideration if they're okay with it.
Yeah, that's a good point, because they are quite different lengths as well.
Yeah.
So either way, there's going to be like a lot more space on the Amy one, obviously. But I actually like how this one is longer. I feel like longer words are sometimes easier to work with in terms of like laying stuff out. But if Amy were like a logo, that would be great because like obviously in a logo you want fewer letters.
Colby in the chat agrees. Option drag is probably the shortcut I use the most.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, it is so good.
That is good.
Actually, I kind of like how this is looking, maybe. Actually, what I might do is kind of like separate this out into two different columns, and that would be a good thing to have in InDesign, because you can like separate columns, like add the text into the next box. I don't know how to do that in Illustrator, although I'm sure you could. I feel like I generally like use Illustrator for more like things like this, and
like vector stuff and like not laying out. Absolutely.
Exactly.
I get it.
But something like this I would maybe do. And then I would also left align this, because that's how.
Absolutely. Don't forget to align your type, folks.
Yeah. make it easy to read. Even though we're not using that much text, it's still like make things easy for people.
Let's actually we're almost to a close now, so let's actually do a quick run through of what we did on day 1 and day 2, and let's tell everybody what they missed and why they should watch the replay. Hey.
Absolutely. So to begin with, yesterday we started out by kind of taking a look at wines, your typical wines that are already out there. So this is a wine packaging project, just to remind everyone, wine packaging project for a charcuterie company based in California. They have a brick and mortar store. They do catering, they do classes. They have a lot of house branded things as well, products. So that was what we worked on yesterday, was kind of like laying out and designing the labels to kind of like that were inspired by this mood board. And then, so I can show you here the other ones that we just did. So made those, started with this little spoiler alert maybe, and laid everything out, chose some type, created the outlines of this so we could like change the color, and then placed this in a mockup file here, and then added it into the Photoshop mockup, and then added the Photoshop mockup into the InDesign file. So touched on a little bit of every program, and
absolutely. I love the mockups. I have to say, I really enjoyed watching your process through the whole thing. Do you have any last minute words for the chat, or just the whole process?
I don't think so. But I just have to say thank you so much for everyone joining. And I hope you learned something and I hope you enjoyed. And thank you so much, Annika, for hosting. It was so much fun.
Yeah, it was. You can all follow Mackenzie at mbird on Instagram and also go to her website at mbird.ca. So make sure to do that. And thank you so much for joining us for the Week of Women Creatives in honor of Women's History Month. This has been an amazing week of featuring all the women identifying artists. And I've had such an amazing time with you, Mackenzie, over the last 2 days. Thank you so much for joining us. And folks, stick around for the XD Daily Creative Challenge with Elise up next. And Adobe Live will be back tomorrow for the day of masterclasses, followed by the Office Hours show with Nick Longo and Andrew Harkrad. So make sure to tune into those as well. But until then, have a great rest of your day and stay safe and stay creative. Bye for now.
Bye.